Yes, hello. I am James Rowland. Today it's the WNR388. It's NXT UK. But I am not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, man?
Here I am, back again. I'm doing
Don't
fine.
sound too excited.
No, I may not sound it, but I am very excited. Always excited to come here and kick the shit as we say around here. Talk a little shit about NXT. So it's cool. I can't wait. NXT UK. It's been a while. I always, I try to do these my notes in waves. So I usually take a whole like wave period to consume in NXT UK, because I'm not gonna lie, like I get the time on Thursdays to always catch it live, so to speak. But always enjoy breaking these shows down. So let's do it.
Yeah, like I said, 5 episodes of NXT UK to catch up on, and the latest on the WWE Network. So we're going to start with that, because what we do mainly once a month is got a Broken Skull sessions to look at, and this month it was Seth Rollins. Now, with other shows, you think, oh, that could be quite interesting. I think I went into this one not really expecting much, and I think it delivered a lot more. First, what were your thoughts, Seth Rollins with Stone Cold?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely didn't come into it expecting to really be wowed by stories or his perspectives on things. So, it was kind of cool to hear his thought process. Especially, we all know it kind of went viral from this episode. His reaction to his him and the Fiend's match at Hell in a Cell definitely was eye opening and caught my attention, and I learned a lot about that it's kind of cool to hear that when we see BS on our screens, that a lot of times the wrestlers feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that kind of confirmed, him even going into the basically saying he was with thoughts of strangling Vince. I understand that, because there's been plenty of moments as a fan that I know we've all been like, oh my goodness, who's booking this, man? It's just, like, what is going on? And I think that was his moment as a performer in the situation. So it was cool to hear that perspective. It was cool to hear about the friendly rivalry in the Shield. It was just cool to hear certain things that you never really heard comes directly from the man himself. Even all the way down to his babyface run not working after he won the Universal title, or him being kind of jealous of Becky getting the main event spot that Mania. It's a lot of little things that it was really, really nice to hear from him. And like again, Austin doing a great job of asking the right questions, and and getting himself to open up even more. I just thought this was a really strong episode.
Yeah, like I said, we'll go into it a little bit. We talk about hating the fact of wrestling in an empty arena. They talked about Lynch there, which I think Austin handled quite, respectfully. Talk about the drip character kind of being created there. But also at times with NXT and Rollins kind of button head with a lot of people. Of course, like talk about the worst match of the year from 20 as well. And even Bray Wyatt's comment. Wait to hear what I say about that as well. It'll be quite interesting. And of course, like I said, talking about coming up with a Shield and having Seth as a kind of manager to a Dean Ambrose Roman Reigns match. I mean, didn't he luck out there with that, really, coming through? And talking about his match with Brock Lesnar, wanting to start the show at WrestleMania. And again, it was quite interesting to hear these little stories, because you think maybe old Seth is not really going to say a lot, but he does open up, and he seems like a cool guy who kind of loves what he does. Yeah. And more importantly than that, he knows him in the company. He's talked about his kind of conversation he's had with stuff he doesn't agree on. And I think it just shows you that Seth Rollins, talk about WWE don't build stars. Seth Rollins is one of the main event talents they've built in the last 10 years.
I agree. Yeah. They may not hit them out the park the way they used to, or, they may not get the mainstream recognition, but yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. Made a star right there. Someone who loves what they do. I think a lot of people, with their hate for WWE, sometimes just say and think some of the craziest things to me, like it's a bad thing that Seth Rollins enjoys what he does, even though he did kind of let you know that his contract is coming up. Also, he even mentioned that we'll see what happens when the contract is actually up. So, he didn't even, a lot of people kind of label Rollins as like a corporate shield but there's nothing wrong with enjoying what you do. And like you said, if you can get to the level of having input on what your character is involved with and how it's portrayed and all that type of stuff, you are definitely to that level to where, yeah, they're taking you seriously. They recognize who you are as a superstar, and I think Seth Rollins is definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Well, I say weird. I don't know if Stone Cold's got some input on who he wants on the show as well, because it seems like last year when he had Bayley on the character, a lot of similarities between her and Rollins on the character that he's got getting off the ground. You can see how Austin's kind of impressed with it as well about it. Like I said, a really good show. Anybody that's not watched it, it's worthwhile to go check it out. But all the Broken Skull sessions are, aren't they?
Yeah, he really does a really good job overall in general. Like I haven't seen one that wasn't compelling, at least. Even the ones where, you probably was going into it not expecting to learn much, you still get perspective, still get great stories, and that's one thing that Austin has been good at from the beginning. Austin, whether in a roundabout way, based on just how much I enjoyed his podcast, in undergrad while I was in college, way back along 6 to 7 years ago, I was enjoying Austin podcast and be able to open up as an interviewer and get other people to open up as an interviewer. So Austin's been good at this for a very long time. He's one of the reasons why I'm podcasting right now. So I'm no surprise that, with the WWE production behind it and with that roster that he can just pick from and get perspectives from, no doubt they're a match made in heaven.
Yeah, without a doubt. Also had a little bit of time on my hands, and I saw the King of the Ring countdown that was on, obviously, the King of the Ring right now, which you spoke about last week's show of Raw and SmackDown. And I'm going to do the top 10. The number 10 was Baron Corbin. Number 9, Macho Man. Number 8 was Sheamus. You forget how many gimmicks that Sheamus has actually had in WWE. It's like, it's crazy. I was like, oh, yeah, he had King of the Ring. Obviously, he's got his mask phase now as well. But, even with everything he got. Number 7, Kurt Angle. 6 was Edge. 5, Brock. 4, Triple H. Number 3, Brett. Number 2, Austin. Number 1, King Booker. I mean, like I said, no Billy Gunn or Ken Shamrock on the list, but does that seem about right?
Yeah. I think it's funny that they mentioned Baron Corbin, because I don't know anyone who really enjoyed Corbin's run, but I think that's funny. I can't believe the Macho King is so low. I know I sound old, but the Macho King he was a great king. He was a great heel under the Macho King gimmick. So it's funny to me that he's like 9 on there. But I don't really have a problem with it. Booker T probably is the most compelling one who took on the gimmick and literally ran with it as king. So I wouldn't be mad at that at all, with him as King of the Ring. And Bret Hart with Jerry the King Lawler and the memories of that, I can understand why they're in the top 2 or 3. So it makes sense.
Well, also on the WWE, I mean, the network used to have new stuff in a week, and now we're not getting every month. We get the Austin stuff. The Icon has stopped at this moment. Other documentaries has. There's a lot of rumors about cost cutting backstage with the W Network. In America, we don't have that problem, the good old network here. But, I was hoping there's more stuff on the network at some point. We move on to news. And we got sad news about a man whose name you may not have known, but whose work you've admired. Reggie Parks, a journeyman pro wrestler and belt maker, died October 7th. He was 87 years old. He was truly the king of belts, as he created too many iconic championship lists, just by us talking here as well. Honestly, name the championships that he's talked about. Probably the most famous one that we know is the Winged Angel, as it's called. The WWF title, the kind of the classic championship belt. Do you ever think we're going to get a title as good as that, or have we had a championship kind of as iconic as that belt was?
As far as WWE, WWF championship, I think we're pretty much sure. I think we can be sure that they're never probably gonna look as good as they used to. Again, they have a design, they have a logo. I can't wait till they decide to revamp that, because this logo is, we see it all the time. Every belt looks the same. Oh my goodness, yeah. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, the Winged Eagle, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again. it's such a, like you said, such an iconic look. My favorite belt of all time is definitely just the big gold heavyweight classic style championship. I always like that look. It just looked like something that every championship want to have. But yeah, definitely no less iconic and no less you know, beautiful was the winged eagle and the old WWF championship from way back in the day. With all the greats that you remember holding that belt. Uh, it's sad to see Reggie Parks pass away, but legend that when you do something, when you create something like that, his legacy will live on forever with that design. You know,
but it's incredible. The kind of you think about UFC belts, NWA, WCW, IWGP. Like we talk about the Winged Lady, all the big gold belts, well, all the Intercontinental title straps that we kind of know and love, as well as tag team title belts throughout the line. Ring of Honor, the X Division Championship, as you know, it's just incredible to think this one man had such an impact. And you think about, again, not having to go at WWE, but how shit that title belt is right now compared to kind of the stuff we used to have, you know. And I know it's not like, it's back in the old days. Well, with championship belts, it definitely was, and Reggie Parks will definitely.
100%.
Other news, Devon Dudley doesn't do business with Bully Ray anymore. Now, no one should ask me why someone doesn't do business with their former partner. I probably understand. But apparently it was due to their last run that they had in WWE, where Bully Ray got offered a contract, wanted to focus on the side of a career. And of course, he does Busted Open Radio, and Devon become a producer. And Devon basically says, look, I don't want to become an active wrestler still, but because what Bully Ray did, we kind of changed it. We don't do business. And yes, the Dudleys probably don't speak every day like we hope they would, but probably, you know, neither does Edge and Christian probably. You know, there's other tag team. Booker T and Stevie Ray probably not in contact all the time. So right. I think it's a sad thing, but isn't that just life?
Yeah, it happens, and that business relationship was over when they weren't teaming anymore. That's just how it works when you're a tag team in that situation. I don't think it's anything, you know. I don't think it's anything special or different here or anything. It's not hatred. It's business. Two people who had two different creative ideas when it comes to their future. You know what I mean? And it's simple as that. And those things happen. It sucks. I know everyone wants everyone to be as close as they always were for their entire life, but that's just like you said. It's just life. Things happen. I think Bully loves what he's been doing with Busted Open. He promotes the hell out of it, so I think he enjoys it. And I also believe that I don't think there's anything wrong if that was the case with Bully Ray saying, "No, I'm good on another Dudley's run. If you want to bring me back, I will do something solo." But we've done all we can because honestly, we see again back to how WWE treats a lot of their older teams. Like what would the Dudleys be able to bring to something they barely focus on anyway in a tag division? They don't focus on it anyway, even if they were tip-top shape, completely active. So, it is what it is. But it's a great point you make there. That's life, and it's just one of those things that, like you said, you can just break it. You can just go down through a lot of great tag teams throughout the years and see that it happened, that they fell out. The Road Warriors fell out. You know, it's all types of people who, as time went on, fell out with their partners. So it's one of those sad truths. Also not.
So when me and Monty do fall out, we can go back to this podcast and listen to it and realise, you know, we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, when it inevitably happened, and one of us does the double cross. This was all planned.
People go back to listen to the 388 when it was, you know, the classic tag teaming. As we release this podcast today, it is Crown Jewell, believe it or not, and we will be doing predictions for Crown Jewell later. But we have promised you NXT UK, and we have got 5 episodes to get on with. So we're going to start September 16th.
Let's do it.
And, of course, the BT Sports Studios in London with Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness on commentary. And we've got NXT UK Heritage Cup number contendership semi-finals. Noam Dar versus Kenny Williams. And we get straight into the action. Round 1, they took each other down early in the round. Williams grabbed Dar's hair as Dar tried to escape from a headlock. Williams attacked Dar's arms. He headed him as a wrist block at the bell. Round 2, Williams hit a few elbows at the start of the round. He worked over Dar's arm again until Dar managed to kick his Williams sold the knee, but it was a ruse as he rolled up Dar at 1:23 of the second round, making Williams 1-0 up. In round 3, Williams kept beating Dar down, but Dar took back over in a further attack. Williams small package for 2, but got caught in a knee bar. Saved by the bell as the round ended. Into round 4, Dar rolled up Williams with his leg on the ropes, but the referee caught him. Williams speared Dar on the knee, then removed the turnbuckle. As the referee remanded him, Dar grabbed a water bottle and tossed it to Williams and alerted the referee. He used the distractions to lock in the knee bar for the submission, the 1-1. And then into round 5, Dar scored a near fall for back elbow. Williams got a near fall from a clothesline. And Williams looked to finish off, but Dar rolled to ringside. Williams went to follow him, but he went to return the ring. Charles Samuels popped out from under the ring and grabbed his leg. Dar used this opportunity Williams and was trapped, getting a pin and the win at 2:27 of the round. Dar wins 2-1. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this match had a few spots that just make Heritage Cup matches special at times, and I love the late hit by both men after the bell. It kind of set the tone that both guys were untrustworthy, and they, trying to get that extra shot in. Williams being saved by the bell is always a great spot when a time limit is involved. I thought this match was, I think those moments are unique to this match type, and I think anytime you can do something that's unique to the specific way that you're wrestling or the specific style of match that you're wrestling, I think that's always a compliment to to the wrestlers involved. Anyway, I love the way that both men got their first falls, just outsmarting each other, and I love the trash talk between them during the match. I really, really enjoyed this match. And in the end, Noam Dar was the better cheater, and I love that story. Like, they're just like, we're just one step ahead in the end. He outsmarted them, and I thought that was just a perfect ending to a match. So I really enjoyed it, and I don't really think Noam Dar can have a match I'm not interested in, but this was really good.
You're about to have both guys look fantastic. The Scum of the Earth is a great Dar,
yes.
challenging the Eddie Guerrero. Plus, he's just class as well.
Right.
Fucking Sharp popping up there as well. Fantastic opener. Gallus warming up back. Jordan Devlin walked by and got under Joe Coffey's skin. We then see Dragunov address the NXT UK locker room. He appeared on the video wall. He said he was happy for the first time in a long time. He made the impossible possible. It was absolutely unbesiegbar, which is invincible. He was looking forward to coming back to UK, and the most interesting would be who would be the person trying to take his championship away from him. At that point, Nathan Fraser walked out and said he wanted to take the initiative and asked, why not me? Rampage Brown then came out and talked what he'd done to Joe Coffey, and how he was violent man, and Naked finally appeared and said he should get the first title match. Scarlett made a three-way between him with a winner, getting a shot. Brown bumped into Fraser on his way out. He pulled him back in. They brawled, and Brown was the last one standing. I think for me, Brown will be favourite in this match, but it's good to see Naked and Fraser step up as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brown definitely, was the favorite going forward, and like even in that encounter, as you can see, so dominant. But I like all three. I think all three guys will be great opponents for Dragunov, and I think that was the best part of this segment altogether. It teased three interesting encounters, and Dragunov, by the way, when he speaks, he makes these faces, and it's hilarious at how the way I don't know what it is about how he emote. Like even at the end there when he was like, "That's fine with me," he's like in a sadistic way, like, "Ooh, yeah, the more the merrier. The more people to fight, the better." He just did it with his face. I don't know. His face is weird to me sometimes, in a good way in this situation.
Without a doubt, we see Jenny and Joseph Connors walk to their dressing room. Isla Dawn was in there doing scary witch stuff. She had drawn a pentagram with lipstick on the mirror, still scarier than a doll. And then Mustache Mountain were backstage. Bates said it was exciting to have a new champion. Was keeping an eye on the number one contender situation at Heritage Cup. Seven interrupted him and talked about the tag title situation. Bates looked taken slightly aback, but but quickly on. In a minute, Mackenzie returned, and Mackenzie shoved Turner aggressively, worked over her arm. Stevie came back with stomps in the corner and kicked her head. She was in the ropes. Mackenzie came back with a clothesline and a spear. Turner hit a side effect. Mackenzie hit a rope-assisted German suplex, followed by running knees for the pinfall victory. I thought this was very quick. Then what you?
Yeah, solid, but yeah, not too long. Didn't really linger too much. I wonder where the story of Mackenzie taking down her mentor's former opponent. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if that's just basically the story. I'm just going to take down anyone who challenges. So I don't know if it's going anywhere. I don't know. We'll see. But what happens after the match was maybe the focus, and that's maybe why that match seemed kind of rushed at times, I guess.
Yeah, well, Mackenzie will face Miko at some point, like you said. I think Mackenzie's a bit bland, but she reminds me a bit of a female Dunn. Like, she's got that kind of like, yeah, all right. Let's have a little fun. We see Wolfgang and Tiemann talk about the Heritage Cup tournament match next week. Wolfgang joked about the eye and suggests they leave the family members backstage for the match. But he learns on the street she had to take out the biggest guy in the stack. We get a vignette on a new talent called Charlie Dempsey aired. Dempsey is Bailey Matthews, the son of Weagle. He's in black and white, and he was watching old British wrestling footage. He said his inspiration is once, and his body was like a ladder. He had to work it up and down. He said he was training the British style. He's going to show us things we never. He is coming soon. We saw Dempsey wrestle Tyler Bate in NXT UK back in February. He looked good. It looks like they've got big plans for him now, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. You can tell. I like the filter, of the video, of the vignette. His intensity in his voice. You can just tell he's going to be a serious problem. And, can't wait to see what was coming.
Yeah, about that. Well, they showed us after the previous match, Blair Davenport ran in to destroy Stevie Turner. She addressed his Scala and told him to reinstate her or bad things were going to happen. I didn't think they were going to do this with Blair Davenport. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it was completely shocking. I didn't think that's where the angle was going. But it's a pretty dope thing. Like I said, it makes her look so strong, even though it does make the suspension look weak that she can just pop up. No security, no one there to stop her. But I'm not mad because the more Blair, the better, and I really like the way she's depicted here.
Well, we get our main event, which is the NXT UK Tag Team Championship. Pretty Deadly, Sam Stoker, Lewis Howley versus Gallus. And Pretty Deadly used some questionable tactics to gain the upper hand and hit a GTS codebreaker combo. They had Joe under control eventually made a hot tag to Mark, ran wild for a bit. Some tags later, it was near falls galore, after which all four ended up at ringside, but they took each other out. Joe Coffey hit a shotgun drop kick off the top. He followed with a Glasgow send-off in the corner, hit all the best for the bells, but Stoker made a save for the pin. Joe crashed in the ring post and Mark almost got the win with a crucifix. Pretty Deadly hit spilled milk on Mark. Successful title defense. What were your thoughts on this?
Before I get into the match, you have to have another level of confidence if you're going to dress like Pretty Deadly. Let's just be honest. You have to have another level of confidence. But, Pretty Deadly have been consistent. Since I've been watching this and reviewing these shows, they've been consistently entertaining. And if I had a criticism, is that they suck at dancing. But their matches like this one are always compelling so far. And the Coffeys were just great, and they were fun to watch. And Joe Coffey shined, in my opinion, as he tends to do anyway. He hits very, very hard as always. And I just thought this was good. It had some really, really good false finishes towards the end there. And I thought this was a strong main event, very, very strong main event, and not mad at Pretty Deadly retaining. Again, I say this all the time now with Pretty Deadly, kind of like I was saying with NXT, with the NXT Tag Team Championship. Who's next? So here we go with Pretty Deadly. At this point, who's next? Because I feel like they're beating everyone.
Well, it was nice to see. It was nice to see Joe Coffey with Mark. When all high-profile matches, you forget Joe is small, and you go, "Oh, hang on a minute, yeah, Mark's bigger." But like you said about Pretty Deadly, they're Cyplex chair, yes, boy. NXT UK possibly has the best wrestling per hour as well. Move on to 23rd September, and in a serious note, after 0.0, never change. Apart from getting a crowd at some point, and we can hope that will be sooner rather than later. We are in the big studios. Again, Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness. We start with Hedges Cup Contenders Tournament. Wolfgang versus Tiemann. Round 1, Rohan Raja distracts Wolfgang as he climbs the top rope. And Tiemann trips him with a chop block. Wolfgang recovers quickly, hits a power slam on Tiemann to pick up the first fall. 1-0 Wolfgang. And round 2 with 60 seconds left, Tiemann assaults Wolfgang by wrapping his head in the ring skirt and smacking him around. Wolfgang counters with a thunderous punch. That concludes this round, but neither man picking into round 3. Both men chops. Tiemann focuses on Wolfgang's left arm injury. Tiemann picks up the momentum with a low sliding form out lanes. Allows him to gain his first fall in this bout. So it is 1-1 into round 4. Mark and Joe Coffey take care of Rohan Raj from the outside. Wolfgang splits Tiemann in half with a damaging spear and gets a win in this one. Moving on to the finals where we meet Noam Dar. I like the Tiemann cat, so I was a bit surprised he lost, but I did love the aggression from both.
Yeah, I thought this was cool. You know, I was shocked with the definitive pinfall so early into a cup match. Usually, you know, the first round, either they're gonna make it without a fall, and if it is a fall, it just seemed to came out of nowhere. But I like that, you know, and I thought that Tiemann tried, you know, all he could do to break down the big man's arm, and you know, and try to limit his power. But you know, Wolfgang was relentless, and you know, I love the story they told. Like you said, they were both vicious, and it was a lot of good here. It was a lot of good here, and I really thought it was well done.
Yeah, and a really good showcase for Wolfgang as well, as we've seen.
Yeah.
Backstage, we see Rampage Brown warming up for his triple threat match later. Blair Davenport wants Skid Skyler once again. If it doesn't reinstate her, she'll some mayhem in NXTUK. Subculture running to Sam Gradwell before spray painting one of the walls backstage. I love it when I love Sam Gradwell, especially when he's like, in a bit, yogurts. You know, it's just great. Gallus is celebrating in Jordan Devlin's private room. Devlin tries to get through the door, but Gallus just shoves him out. Devlin warns him he's going to make a stink about this Skyler. I don't mind Gallus, because we've seen Siri's side. We've seen a little bit more comedy from him now, aren't we? Which I don't mind.
All right. Yeah. Balanced. They're becoming more balanced.
Yeah, I think without doubt, it's good to see. You know, we've been so like one note time. It's nice to see. And then we get Isla Dawn versus Ginny. And Ginny fights Dawn off of the apron and plants Ginny face first. Joseph Collins and Dawn have a stare down. Dawn takes his hands and gives out a demonic laugh. Ginny stops Dawn on the tracks with a middle rope X Factor pinfall. What were your thoughts?
I want to say, before I get into the match, what a build. Oh, man. One the wrestling witch was in the other wrestler's dressing room. So I guess Jordan Devlin is going to have to hunt down Joe Coffey, right? That's literally what I wrote. Anyway, besides that, decent
but it's
enough
better
match.
than saying, "Hey, do you want a match?"
You know what? I give you that. But yeah, I give you that. I give you that. It's not a great build, but it's a better reasoning than what we've seen recently, of course. But I thought this was decent enough. You know, of course, another wrestler being distracted by another person's voice spot again. I will always hate. I cannot wait until they get people into these buildings. But this was okay. You know, I don't know what the hell Isla's deal is, but I guess I'm interested. So
is she a face now? Like, this is the question. Is she a face?
I don't know.
Is that what faces do? Like, I don't know. She showed.
I know her face should hurt after that X Factor. Why they made that look good? That was the best one. That may be the only X Factor I've ever seen where I was like, that looked like a reasonable finish.
Yeah, that finisher looked killer. There's no doubt about it. Dawn shows some good aggression. The UK Performance Centre's Brookside challenges Dana Luna to a match. A-Kid is getting for the main event, which is up next. We get another vignette for Charlie Dempsey shown. Of course, he'll make his debut next week. And then Trent Seven, Asher Smith, and Oliver Carter are having a heated chat about a tag match for next week. And now the main event will move forward and become Ilya Dragunov's first opponent for the NXT UK Championship. It'll be A-Kid, Dave Fraser, or Rampage Brown. We actually see A-Kid and Fraser join a temporary alliance to send Brown out of the match early. Their plan backfires as Brown takes both men out, but A-Kid puts Brown in an armbar. Fraser breaks it up, and they hit a stereo drop kick on Brown, who spills to the outside. A-Kid runs the ropes and hits a drop kick from Fraser, and Brown is back in. He sends Fraser away with a Dr. Bomb, but A-Kid makes a and then comes back in by locking Brown up again. Brown spills to the outside with a super kick. A-Kid turns his attention back on Fraser and finishes him off with a jumping kick. And now A-Kid is the new #1 contender to the NXT Championship. what a main event.
Yeah, it was a hell of a match. I love this match. They obviously pulled out all the stops. This match is a great example of why I love triple threat matches, just in general. But it was just a good example of just great, wrestling. NXT UK has always been good at just giving you consistent wrestling, and I think this was no exception. It was good from beginning to end. I thought Rampage had it won at moments with his power, but A-Kid was relentless, and him and Fraser's athleticism shined throughout the match. It was just very fun to watch. Everything that they did was very, very good, and throughout the match, I couldn't help but wonder, especially watching A-Kid in this match, I just knew that he and Dragunov would be very, very interesting. So I was very pleased that he won this match, even though during the match I found myself rooting for Rampage Brown, but I wasn't mad at all because A-Kid is on another level, and this was just very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah, all three were kind of great here, and it's weird in any other wrestling company you might bring in a wrestler to team up with Brown called Dynamite, and then of course you have Rampage and Dynamite, but only if another poor wrestling company would do that. But A-Kid versus Ia will be different to anything we have seen in NXT UK. And we'll move on September 30th. We've got Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness. Welcome us again. We kick off some tag team action. Mustache Mountain, Trent Severin and Tyler Bate Smith and Oliver Carter. Bate evades a Doomsday device and stacks Smith's up, but Smith managed to wiggle free. Just when things seemed calm, Symbiosis arrived near the ring to protect Mustache Mountain, Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars to run out to save the day. Yeah, because that's who you want as your backup. Jack Stars. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Carter knocks Bate out with a super kick, but still isn't enough for them to win. Seven rocks Carter with a dragon suplex on the outside. Bate grabs Smith and dumps with a rope-assisted deathlift German suplex. Seven comes in as a legal man. Bate hits his rebound ladder, and Seven finishes Smith off with a dragon suplex to capture the win. This was great tag wrestling.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. Man, it's just a hell of a match for a show opener. And also for a non-title tag match, something that wasn't, a big-time story with heat behind it or anything. This was just a very, very good competitive tag team wrestling match. Tyler Bate is just so good. I feel like I say that every time he's involved with something during these reviews. I think it's pretty much redundant at this point to tell you how good he is. He and Seven made Carter and Smith look like $1 million. And it was just one spot that Bate towards the end kicked out of, and I was just like, "It's no way Mustache Mountain is losing if he's kicking out of stuff like that." So it was very, very fun. It was really, I liked it.
And there was one moment, I think Carter, when he dived on Symbiosis and he broke his face because no one decided to catch him.
Yeah.
And then that fucking German suplex as well. We talked about on the last show about, strong wrestlers. There's a reason why he's called a big strong boy, because Bate can do things that no one else's size can. It really, really is good stuff. Jenny and Emil McKenzie get to a squabble after the interview. Nina Samuels interviews Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars, but she drives herself. Mastiff and Stars decides to, I like it, Nina. I'm going to talk about this, Nina Samuels. So I said to you, I think on the last one, she reminds me of Kids TV presenter, and that is what she's doing.
Yeah. So over the top. Oh my goodness.
This is great.
Yeah.
And we get Danny Luna versus Zia Brookside, and Danny traps Zia with a face lock. Zia throws several gut punches to break it, and once she escapes it, that creates some separation between the two. Zia tried to finish Danny off with a net breaker, but it wasn't enough. Danny catches Zia with a full waist slam, drives to the mat with a power bomb, and it's night-night for Zia and a well-earned victory. Danny, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought this was a battle of strength and speed, and the longer this match went, the more power began to win, And I liked it. I thought, Danny Luna was impressive. And I thought Zaya's reaction, to losing is interesting going forward, So I thought this was good overall. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yeah, like you said, Zia Brookside rejected the handshake afterwards, which showed that she's not a bit of a... But we take a look at Blair Davenport's unruly reign since joining the brand. She's been stated Stevie Turner would like her, and 2, Turner marches into Sid Scala's office demanding payback from Davenport. I've been waiting for a moment Sid Scala just takes out Blair Davenport. Like, he just really loses his shit. He can't be stood on that much longer. Come on now. Backstage, Sam Gradwell and Mark Andrews bitterness towards one another. Can see Charlie Dempsey will make his NXT UK debut. Morale. In the closing moments of this match, Dempsey holds Morale in a double wrist lock and turns it into another Fujiwara armbar. Still not enough. Dempsey folds Morale up. Morale's foot is touching the back of his spine. During his very uncomfortable position, Morale taps, giving Dempsey victory. This was a great debut for Dempsey.
Yeah, he stretched this man completely out. This is insane. You know, he looks just like Regal. Also, they don't have to give him the last name. You can just look at him. It's another situation where it's like looks give it away completely. But you can tell he's a student of the game. You know, not just his father, but just a student in general of you know, just grappling and wrestling as a whole, and you know, that style he was using. And I came in expecting a 5-minute squash, and it was like. It was a squash, but it wasn't your typical one. It was like a literal wrestling match type of squash. And yeah, Dempsey has a bright future. I think it's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, submission was great. Credit to Morale as well for selling it. And there was one with a wrist where he went into the air as well, and it looked amazing. But like I said, he had a huge role to play there. See, the Dragunov and A-Kid come face-to-face for the epic NXT UK Championship title match. Dragunov asks A-Kid not to be naive and believes he will be the one to end the Mad Russian's reign. A-Kid replies, simple. There are 3 ways he'll go about this. Tapping him, pinning him, snapping him. The way Walter did for months. Dragunov tells A-Kid he's just a kid. And now is not his time. We'll see about that when both these men face off. I cannot wait. What about you?
Yeah, thought this was really, really good. You know, it did a really good job of, you know, setting this story up perfectly. But I also really, really like Dragunov's energy, and you can just tell this new air of confidence now in his voice when he speaks. You know, overcoming Walter has gave him the freedom or the peace of mind that has set him on an entirely new path. And I couldn't wait to see him bring the pain, as we know Dragunov can do.
Next week, we're going to get Mackenzie versus Ginny, Andrews versus Gradwell, and a conclusion the NXT UK Heritage Cup Number Contenders Tournament. But now the main event is Joe Coffey versus Jordan Devlin, and we see Coffey showing his power early, but Devlin recovers quickly and mocks Gallus by crossing his arms in front of his chest. That doesn't sit well with Coffey as he with a belly-to-belly suplex and a springboard cross body. Coffey has to recover, but Devlin refuses to quit. They brawl temply turns to a slugfest. Devlin turns Coffey's all the best for the bells into a standing Spanish fly. Mark Coffey climbs on the apron with all of Devlin's gear on. Devlin's distracting. Wolfgang holds Joe's Coffey's hand so he can avoid Devlin's side. Coffey pounces Devlin into the corner with his Glasgow send-off, then decapitates the Irish Ace with all the best for the bells. Discus lariat for the main event win. Most impressive thing here was Devlin didn't look overmatched.
I agree 100%. Like he, as someone who you would look at or people assume is in a completely different weight class, and he really is in a different weight class than a guy like Joe Coffey. But he didn't look it. He fit right in well here. But I called it. I told you, do not mess with the NXT UK wrestlers dressing room, or you will have to fight them. It is a done deal. That will be the reasoning for your match. So just stay out of other people's locker room, of course. This is a great match, though, man. You can tell they're 2 good workers. And Joe Coffey, man, is just an absolute beast. I know I may be saying something that's redundant or known at this point, but, man, I love watching what Joe can do in the ring. And, of course, it says a lot about Devlin that he needed Gallus' aid in the end, kind of, to get that opening towards the end. So it's kind of says a lot about, you know, what Devlin is, like we said, that he fit in perfectly in this, and that Gallus is kind of needed to aid Coffey to clear it up towards the end. So I love watching this match, so I have nothing bad to say.
No, like I said, really, really good main event. Move on to October 7th. Andy Shepherd, of course, Nigel McGuinness again. Welcome us. And we kick things off with some female action. Amelia Mackenzie versus Ginny. McKenzie and Ginny take this up a notch by trading blows. He hosts Ginny and dumps on a matter of high angle back suplex. But no surprise, Joseph Connors tries to get involved in this match. The NXT UK Women's Champion Miko Satomura runs out to stop him. Kick. Meanwhile, in the ring, McKenzie rocks Ginny with 2 massive suplexes for 2. But Ginny somehow recovers to hit an acid rainmaker kick combo for the pinfall victory. And there is something about Ginny, and there is something about Connors, I just don't. You know, it's true though. And like you mentioned,
I agree 100%.
And Miller, the character of McKenzie must have an ulterior motive to make it work.
Right, exactly. It has to. I know it's kind of predictable, but it has to be an end game. That's the only way that this makes any sense. Other, like I get it, the mentorship type of thing, but we all know what how that works. It has to end with that ultimately being the end goal of McKenzie dethroning. Not just dethroning, but being malicious, because maybe it started off as she gets her way to a challenge. But I think the true money there would be obviously McKenzie turning on Mako at some point. But yeah, you're 100% on the money with Jenny. Jenny is money, bro. I love her. Again, as someone who didn't watch regularly all the time before I started doing these reviews, I'm really developing true opinions about a lot of these characters. And every time Jenny's been on my screen, not only has she been captivating enough to keep me watching and listening to what she has to say, every time she wrestles, it's been compelling and really, really good stuff in the ring. So, I'm really excited for what this, especially for what she said after the match and what this is leading to when it comes to Jenny. And as long as Connors don't screw it up for us, man, I think this could be really good.
Yeah, without doubt. Like I said, post-match, Jenny calls out Miko. She wants a title shot. Looks like the final boss will give it to her.
Yeah.
The match was a good story told. Youthful, going wrong here. So hopefully, that'll be as well. Backstage now with Shah. He's getting ready for his big match later today, and Shah and Dar do indeed rock. And earlier this week, Blair Davenport discussed off. She would be allowed to return next week against Stevie Turner. So what was all about? Really,
and then it was and she had the simplest, easy plan ever. I'm just going to attack one of the women on the roster. They're going to want to fight me, and you're going to have no choice but to reinstate me. See it looks like and don't get me started on Invisible Saint. Did nothing to help for Sid. Sid looks bad, and no one is there to help for Sid. He just I don't know. See, it just looks weak. He got to take all the blame here, but I feel for him because he's just in a position and he's pretty powerless when you think about it.
Well, it's like Johnny saying to him, "Don't make me come there, Sid," and Sid going, "No, you can come if you want." It's always me. I'm not. Don't make me get out. Don't make me come out.
Please come to work.
Just do something. It's crazy, but we see Aiken opportunity when he faces NXT UK champion Ilya Dragunov for the title next week. And then into the match, Mark Andrews versus Sam Gradwell. And speed was a plan for Andrews, and that was going fine until Sam caught him on the outside and slammed him onto those wafer-thin mats. Gradwell dominated with the Welsh Wizard, getting some success working in the midsection, but Andrews hits a stun dog millionaire and catches Gradwell with a moonsault on the outside. But back in, Gradwell firmly grabs Andrews' ear, then capitalized with a devastating fireman slam, carry slam for the win. It's my favourite thing. Oh.
Yeah, of course, I already know.
You know what I'm going to say? Because I tweeted it as well. And Sam Gradwell, the man, always retweet my stuff. And I appreciate it because when you become a big star, I'm the only one that was on this bandwagon right now. But he said to Mandrew, he said he was a skater boy. I said, yogurt. You can't beat
I knew
that.
it was coming. He always has a lot to say. Oh, my goodness. Does he always have a lot to say? It's two things about Gradwell I appreciate. His consistent anger, because he's consistently angry about something. And also the fact that he talks a lot. He talks a lot. He really does talk a lot. And also, Mark Andrews, going back to before even this match he was started, I got to say, he really needs to come up with a better way to start these matches that he's not going to win. just slapping someone and running off. It seems like it's not working so far for Mark Andrews. This is a good TV match, man. I like Gradwell. He's pretty cool, and I think, as they continue to build him up, give him more important things to do, the character can catch on even more as time goes on.
Without doubt, and Sam has a history with Ilya Dragunov as well. And Gradwell may be my favourite wrestler period in the world at this moment in time. Sam Gradwell, nice. I could watch it. He could be on the main roster. My only complaint for him would be to land into the finisher, because you get that, just makes it tied together, so to speak. But it's fun stuff. And Flash Morgan Webster is still playing his slapping game. He lands a nice shot on Sashar Samuels, who sprints away before Samuels can catch. I did call him a mug, which, again, if we're going to have Gradwell Samuels, I'm in. Like, you mug, you yogurt, you mug. You just imagine that. Next week, NXTUK Chapter.
Well, let the argument.
Yeah, Ilya Dragunov versus A-Kid.
It'd be funny.
And we're going to get fans back in attendance next week as well. That is going to be brilliant. But now the main event, who will become Tyler Bates' #1 contender, the UK Heritage Cup #1 contender. Now Dar, who was your pick to begin with, versus Wolfgang, who wasn't mine. But we start with round one. A very tight start. When facing Dar, you have to deal with mind games. That is a given. Is Dar one of the most underrated guys at mind games in wrestling?
Yes, he's underrated for so many different reasons, but definitely for his cleverness and just wittiness. He's always one step ahead, and that's the thing. That's the reason why, again, not only going back to the match with Kenny Williams, but just in this entire tournament from the beginning, he has been outsmarting his opponents, in so many ways to get these victories. And I think he's underrated in the ring in general, but especially with just like his wittiness and like how smart his character comes off. And I really enjoy what he does in the ring.
Without a doubt. Round two, Wolfgang starts quick, but on the outside, Jordan Devlin storms out and attacks Joe Coffey. Dar uses this traction to his advantage by stacking up Wolfgang for the first fall. Dar 1-0. I thought this was excellently done with Devlin, obviously with Coffey. And we know the feud. Round three, Wolfgang retaliates with a deadly spear to earn his first fall in his bout. Straight, you think Dar's got this.
So hilarious.
Wolfgang, bang. Into round Dar looked out on his feet. The selling by Noam was great, like a championship boxer on the very edge of his... Like Wilder was for Fury just a couple of weeks ago. Dar every shortcut to avoid being pinned. Wolfgang speared the barricade right at the end of the round. 1-1 was finished. And in round 5, it looks like the roles are reversed as Wolfgang is hung into the match. The Champagne Super knee bar couldn't get it done, and Dar was looking for the Nova Roller, but Wolfgang stops him with the spear. Wolfgang hooks the leg, but the bell sounds. Wolfgang was so close to taking this home. And then the final round, round 6, where Wolfgang lays Dar up with an explosive offense just as the final round kicks out. Dar comes back into this with a dive on Wolfgang's injured leg. And Wolfgang decks Dar with a heavy right hand for a 2. Dar stacks Wolfgang up, but Dar lands a nice back kick for another near fall. He hits a Nova Roller, 2-3, and now Dar prevails with a second fall. An overall tournament victory. Dar wins the match, and you were right about Noam Dar. So why don't you bask in your glory of your pick winning? And what did you think of the final match? And we'll talk about the tournament as a whole in a minute.
Yeah, round 3 was absolutely hilarious. The way he walked out, you can just, he's so confident just to get speared the way he did so fast. Oh, it popped me. It really did. But, if you're not a Noam Dar supporter like me, it is what it is. I can understand it. But you cannot say his matches are not entertaining. And he's very cerebral. Like I mentioned earlier, just like how smart he is. He wrestled smart throughout this entire tournament. And he just looked like I know Edge is the ultimate opportunist, but Noam Dar is up there as far as being an opportunist, the way he took advantage of situations in this tournament, in this match. And he's just a good wrestler also. So it makes everything funner and more exciting. And this was just a great finale to the tournament, in my opinion. I think this is what the Heritage Cup is all about. Matches like this one, matches like Noam Dar's match before this one. He's on a run, honestly. You can make a case that all of his matches were pretty darn entertaining in general. And give me Noam Dar and Bate in this format or just any format. Like, just give them time and let them do what they have to do. Oh, man, I think the right man won. I was, like, full-fledged rooting for Noam Dar, just like Nigel was. So this was just a great ending to an episode and ending to that tournament.
Well, the last round was fantastic, and I will say this is Scottish wrestling, with two guys. We saw it with Kenny Williams in the last round as well, representing. And you've talked about, people go to rooms to create matches, and this has created the number one contender now who deserves it. There's no doubt Noam Dar is on top of his game going against Bate. And, of course, Bate has not got his mind on the Heritage Cup. He's been thinking about tag team titles with Trent
He's
Seven.
vulnerable.
Like I said, he is there, and it's the storytelling as a whole as well. Even with Devlin getting involved and keeping that feud alive, Tiemann would be maybe the only one I was upset about, but we'll get on to Tiemann in the next episode. And we see Bate walking out, meeting his newest poses. This was a banger of an episode as well. You talk about the main event. Obviously, my mate Sam Gradwell, and of course Ginny to start off the show. Like I talk about, it's an hour, and it just flies by.
And I think that's a good sign of that they know what they're doing, and they were getting in a groove. I think we mentioned, I don't know if it was the last NXT UK review, but I know at one point we were talking about that without dragging off that. In this period while we're trying to get to the Dragunov Walter match, NXT UK was kind of getting, I want to say stale, but you can tell they were, trying to just put things together. And now you can see very, very exciting things coming together. And yeah, I agree. They're doing a good job of from the beginning of the hour all the way to the 55-minute mark, wherever it is. They do a great job of just packing in interesting content from beginning to start. And I hate to be that guy, but doesn't this just give you those vibes of the good old days of NXT when it was just on the network? It just reminds me of the way the show put together just gives me that hope that we can possibly see stuff like the Takeover, the thing that we were used to in NXT, because the way this show puts together is just like, nothing unimportant. Everything makes sense, and you're right to the point. And most importantly, every week they're right into the wrestling, and that's what I love the most about NXT UK. It reminds me of what I like the most about New Japan. That it doesn't matter what's going on, you're getting right into straight up wrestling, and you can catch up with everything else that's going on throughout the show while you're watching the wrestling. And that's what I love the most about NXT UK. The way they're paced is perfect.
Yeah, and again, everybody knows I'm an ex-UK fan, but I've been watching Strong as well, another New Japan. And like I said, it rivals that with the wrestling. Do not think just because WWE do not care of NXT UK that the wrestlers don't, because they are putting. And unlike any other wrestling brand that is out there at this moment, they haven't got a show to work towards. They haven't got a pay-per-view every month.
Exactly.
Takeover in a year and a half now, and imagine that for not having a payoff and trying to like I said, the year versus Volta was at the last Takeover. There's other matches deserve this, and it just haven't had it. So the storylines have kind of had to keep going, and as a weekly show it works, but you still think, like you said, if you had a Takeover with 5 matches with this talent involved, like Bate versus Star.
Oh yeah.
Like we talk about
pretty
Miko,
deadly, doing what they've been doing.
Exactly, Miko versus Blair Davenport. Those types. That card, and I think NXT UK does kind of get looked down upon. My only hope is Vince is completely about it, and they're like you said, they are treating NXT. They're treating NXT UK like the old NXT.
I agree 100%, but I will have to keep up with you and make sure you're doing okay when the very first NXT UK 2.0 advertisement pops up.
Oh my! I noticed that. We're going to the last episode now, and the referee showed a new NXT logo, and it just looks so out of place.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we start off October 14th We've got a new theme as well. And no, the old one was a tune. This one, we don't need it. Just keep it. But
they're already changing things.
they are. God damn it. One good change, though, are the fans are back. And it makes such a...
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Like I said, it's one thing about reviewing these NXT UK episodes. You're getting more increase as the weeks have went by since fans have officially just started to return in general in the main roster. And when AEW has been doing it, even though I feel like with AEW, they never really lost fans because they kind of did a good job of using extras and other people as fans even during the pandemic. But yeah, NXT UK was like one of those last holdouts, if you know what I mean, when it came to that. And so it'd be good to get some type of human interaction and energy into the BT Sport Arena. And not have to rely on the live tape and just the wrestlers' energy all together to keep you into it. Because I think all of us know as wrestling fans, especially going through the pandemic, and even since the pandemic has continued on, we all know, or at least should know, our value as a live audience. And live audiences are almost, if not more important than the workers and the stores. It's just as important, if you know what I mean, if not. So, yeah, this is great, and you can already tell first night back, and you can just tell a difference.
Without doubt, and Andy Shepherd there, and bless his heart, getting as excited the next UK as I do, trying his best. And people, I've had a few emails about where Nigel McGuinness is. He's in America. He does 205 Live where he's actually in the crowd, or at the arena, and then he does the commentary over the top with Andy Shepherd as well. I don't want to ruin the illusion. Andy Shepherd does it in post, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. And it works because I think Shepherd and McGuinness, apart from shouting towards the end of matches, have got quite a good rapport to it as well. I think with Nigel, it's just a bit of a shame for him that Wade Barrett has made such a great, made that role his own in NXT, basically, hasn't he?
I agree. And the thing is, he's so good that I don't think it necessarily takes away from Nigel. It's just you wish that it was more opportunities for Nigel to get to show what he can do also, because he's that good. If not, maybe a step behind. Maybe he's not as humorous as a Barrett, but they're both damn good at what they do. And, I enjoy both of them. And I agree. I think his commentary on NXT UK is pretty consistent. It's kind of funny, though, that, you get to actually see him live and in person for 205 Live and not for NXT UK. And it's just like, we can't flip that. We really can't flip that.
205 Live needs you, Nigel. It needs you more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I will try my best. Anyway, the first match with fans in attendance for NXT UK, Stevie Turner, Blair, Davenport, and Blair attacks during Stevie's entrance. But Turner managed to survive this match, come back into it, and applies 3 brutal net break for near fall. Davenport smacks Turner across the face with a low roundhouse kicks and misses a double stomp off the top. Turner counters by dumping Davenport on the mat for a 2 count, and Davenport is ready to put Turner away. She says, knee you later, she cracks him with a Kamigoye, followed by a Falcon Arrow for the 3 count.
This was a good match. Stevie Turner didn't look like a slouch, and I thought Blair, basically, not only with what she's just been doing in general and as a character, but also in this match, I thought she just looked badass, and she does what she wants, right? I think that's pretty much the character, or at least that's what they've established about, Blair Davenport, that she's going to do what she wants, and she's made Johnny Saint and Sia Skyler look like idiots. And this is what she's going to portray going forward. She's definitely a dangerous contender to not just Mako, but the many other women in the NXT women's division. I know I talk about how strong the women's division in NXT UK is, but again, this is another example with this match with Stevie Turner, with the stuff with Jenny and Amelia McKenzie's story, even with Zaya Brookside's, stuff with Danny Luna. They have a legit section of their division still working. I didn't see a male in this run a few episodes, but we know she's still relevant. So, they have such a strong division that this is they have so much stuff going on that's unrelated to the championship. And that's just how deep they are in the women's division. So I do love seeing that, and this is just another example. But Blair Davenport is obviously on the road to the championship. Who will be her pits? Who will be her pit stops? What is the first few? What is next? Who's going to be that thorn in her side going forward? Is it a face strong enough that's not named Mako ready for this character? We'll see.
Well, this is the thing. A really good match start show. Stevie looked good, but there was fucking nothing 4D about her. I don't care what anybody says. Did you see anything in that match? You went.
By the way, she actually mentioned, she screamed it out of nowhere, and I was like, "Oh yeah, James definitely threw his hands in the air." And hated that part. I know. Because mid-match, you're like, "I'm 4D" or something like that. I'm just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Whatever,
or the finishers called 4D would make more sense, but you know. Anyway, Blair will be champion unless she gets called up first. But the way they manage women on the roster, fuck knows what could happen there. Like I said, Blair Davenport reminds the ladies in the back that she's ready to dominate the locker room. We see NXT UK champion Ilya Dragunov getting warmed up for his big main event match. And Paul Dar, no one came to his celebration party last week. Dar won the entire NXT UK Heritage Cup Contenders Tournament, but he's happy for his buddy Shao Samuels, who has a match later today against Flash Morgan Webster. And Shao even manages to find him a celebration cake. I know people saying it's a birthday cake, but, you know, this is a really lovely gesture from Shao Samuels to Dar. Literally, these two guys are money. Tierman is very upset for coming up short in the Heritage Cup tournament.
When is he not
cheer him up.
Fair.
But this is what I loved about it.
He looks pretty upset for a while, but keep going.
No, but Tierman is so upset. He assures him that it's his responsibility to make sure the family get better, and they're going to expand it. And it just proves, you know, wins and losses sometimes don't mean shit. Right. And I think for Tierman to be upset after this shows the impact, and hopefully, like I said, they can build from this and kind of show what he can do, because I think he's going to be a big part of NXT UK as well. And then Sis Scala, not Johnny Sane, informed Ginny she will get an NXT UK Women's title match in 3 weeks. Then we get Charles Samuels versus Flash Morgan Webster. Of course, this happened with the happy slapping incident last week. Yeah. Webster connects a perfect dive through the ropes. Back in the ring, he flies off the top, but Samuel grabs a handful of tights and can't keep him down. Webster's top rope assault paid off on the outside, but with enough for him to win the match itself. Webster clocks Samuels with a nasty headbutt and stumbles right into a spine buster, and that's all Samuels needs to win. What were your thoughts on
this? Is a strong match. You know, I really was impressed with Shaw Samuels. I don't know if I've gotten a chance to even really review a match with him in it. It's definitely the first time in a while I got a chance to see Shaw go at it. But it was cool. I really like, of course, Morgan Webster. Always fun in the ring. I made a mistake and called his tag team partner the one slapping people. He was the one slapping people, so I had to fix that mistake. But besides that, this was strong, and I have no problem with it. As a matter of fact, like I said, Shaw impressed me. But like I wanted to know, like, is this how often does Shaw Samuels wrestle? Does him and Dar team? Like what? How often does he get in the ring? Because as someone who have only been watching, I don't know how long he's been now, but not enough time to say I've watched Shaw Samuels in the ring. So I think this is my first time seeing him.
Shaw has been doing this for years. I mean, when I'd seen, like little gymnasiums with 200 British wrestling,
right.
Shaw had been doing that, I would say, for nearly 20 years now.
Yeah, he looked good.
Such a great cat's work, but he's lost loads of weight. And Dar, obviously, Dar was wrestling on the same cars as Shaw was back then as well. So obviously there's a friendship. Shaw's come in as like Dar's, but has not been featured maybe as often. Maybe certain things we don't know, But the thing with Shaw, he's lost so much weight, and I love it because he's taken this seriously. A lot of people get signed, and you just be like, oh, and right. Shaw believes in himself, and I think he's got himself in his shape to try and have one last run, because it's incredible. If you see a picture from Shaw 5 years ago to now, it's just good that someone's kind of got in WWE shape. And again, he's second only behind Gradwell, the oi oi and everything like that he's got. But like I said, we need more Shah, because Shah and Dar is money, without a doubt.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree. And I really like what I saw from Shah in the ring right there. And more Noam Dar, you already know. And I just Googled a picture of him, and now I understand why I didn't recognize him. Makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, but like I said, he is taking this situation seriously, which is good to see. We get kids ready for his career-defining match. He takes off his headphones and put his jacket on. And Nina Samuels hosts a self-named show, The Nina Samuels Show. As she goes up to see her Brookside and says, you've lost all these people. And Brookside points out as well. And then Aaliyah James is there, and that gets a match between James and Brookside, who go off and work out together. And Nina just smiles at the camera. There's a kind of desperation in her eyes that I can appreciate. It's just she's doing well. On the next time that we're going to get together, which of course will be next month for NXT UK, we're going to get Jordan Devlin versus Joe Coffey, because he went to Sid Scala's office, set up, and he promises that an ace can beat a king any day. I thought that was a cool line. It's a really good line. Sid Scala deserves a raise. It's like Johnny Saint is getting paid twice as much as me, and I just don't agree with it. Like, I just don't...
I don't understand. He does all the work.
It doesn't work out for me. Yeah,
poor guy.
Well, then, like I said, the last episode of NXT, the last match that we're gonna review right now, the NXT UK Championship match. Ilya Dragunov's first defense since beating Volta versus A-Kid. I can't do this justice, so I will say to everybody listening, please watch, but let me try, because both men are in a precarious situation on the ropes. With all the strength he can muster, Dragunov dumps A-Kid straight onto the canvas with an explosive superplex. The fans are enthralled and carry out This Is Awesome chants, which is deserved. The one thing that pisses me off is This Is Awesome chants in starting 30 seconds into a 2-minute match. Like, fuck you. So anyway, A-Kid lives a China wizard and applies an armbar. Dragunov hoists him up and drops on the mat with a powerbomb. A-Kid still holds the armbar in place. Dragunov sends A-Kid away with a beautiful torpedo Moscow for the pin full victory. The Tsar will live to fight another day as the NXT UK champion. I didn't speak about all the work that they did to kind of build up to that level. But again, I can't do it justice for the chain wrestling and stuff. It was great stuff.
Yeah. It's pointless almost to even try to go into every detail, because that's just how much they were doing at the pace that they were doing it. It was just two great athletes doing what they do best. And, I can't help but just recommend that people go watch it just like you did. And just what a match for fans to come back to. Your first week allowed into the BT Sport, and they give you that. This is what NXT UK has been missing. Not only it's the world champion, but just like, that feeling and that energy. You could just tell with the fans returning and with Dragunov going forward as NXT champion. The NXT UK as a whole should only be getting better overall. And I think this was a perfect way. I think this match is a good example of what's not only what's to come, but like you mentioned earlier, even though it seems like they're off the radar and whatever, the workers do not know that they're off the radar. The workers do not know that the internet only has enough time, throughout the week to check out AEW and SmackDown or whatever. You know what I mean? So they don't know that, and that they don't work like it. They don't work like they're underlooked or undernoticed and all of that. So this was definitely a grade A match, just top notch stuff. And Dragunov's reign is obviously going to be fun. So I think it's time for other people to just start watching and get on that train and see where we're headed, because this may be the most consistent wrestling and booking and just, you know what I mean, that we're going to get. We talked about it with NXT last week and all that it's just been a lot of different changes, a lot of things. You don't really know what to expect there. It is really, really comforting to know that this is what you can expect from NXT UK.
Yeah, it's what the equivalent is. It's like cycling up under the covers, with a really warm pillow. You can enjoyable, comfort ride. Like NXT UK is not going to throw you stuff like Raw or SmackDown. Even NXT does.
Right.
It's not stuff you don't want. It's even the stuff that you go, is kind of over and done with. They don't really waste time on NXT UK. You get an hour, and the hour is used well. And like I said, what a fucking match. Great show respect afterwards. Take a bow, both men. A-Kid's one of these guys, he ain't got personality, he ain't got this. But man, can that boy fucking go in the ring. There was one point in the match as well that I thought Andy Shepherd would burst a blood vessel shouting. He actually kind of was going, oh my God! And then turned to Nigel like, I still got it. And I was like, oh, he's going to go. He's going to go in a minute. We're just going to hear a thud. And Nigel going, I'm sorry, everybody. Unbelievable stuff. But like I said, I'm glad it's not just me, because I've been waxing lyrical about NXT UK. What are your thoughts on the past 5 episodes of it?
I thought this was strong. This might be some of the strongest stuff, booking-wise, consistency-wise, that they've done since I've reviewed it. And you can, like I said, it just seems like where they're heading towards something, and it seems like it's only going to get better if you just let everything go its course. Mako's reign can only, I can see it getting better. We have valuable and great possible, contenders down the line. Same thing with Dragunov, with other possible good contenders down the line. Pretty Deadly's reign has been very, very consistently entertaining and, a positive on the show. And then not to mention all of the mid-card or, non-Heritage Cup related things that they have consistently going on, along with the Heritage Cup tournament that we saw come to a close during these past 5 episodes, which could only get you hyped for a very, very great Heritage Cup match that I know that we're going to enjoy in the next few weeks. So it's just, like I said, you can't help but come away after looking at the last episode and just thinking about where they're headed with fans being allowed back. The sky's the limit, and NXT UK has a chance to be some of the, so they're already the most consistent, or so, at least one of the most consistent sources of entertainment that I watch weekly now. But honestly, I believe they're on their way to only get better because they're in a really, really good position, roster-wise and storytelling-wise.
Without a doubt. And if you doesn't believe Monty or myself, just go watch it. And if you don't like the A-Kid match, then you're a fucking idiot. And you shouldn't be watching professional wrestling. No, I'm joking.
I want to try to rephrase it in a nicer way, but I don't think you're wrong. You know what I mean? You're not wrong. It's just a lot of people who have anything to say. I don't see how you can watch it. Anything I ever had to say in the past about NXT UK always had to do with just when will I have the time to watch it. That was always my thing. But once I found the time, once I got a chance to sit down and enjoy it, it has always been, reasonably enjoyable and worth my time. So I don't understand, I don't see how anyone can look at what they put out and just be like, who cares about this? This is this, that, and this, and that, So NXT UK is in a good position, and I hope that they get even more eyes on their product as fans return and as Dragunov's reign continue.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we'll leave it there for NXT UK. Like I said, we'll be back next month with some more, and with the crowd back now, it should be great. And one final thing to do today, like I said, as we release this is Crown Jewel. Now, don't worry, because we will review the Crown Jewel event on our next episode. I was trying to think of something really scary to watch on the Halloween special. I couldn't think anything scarier than a Saudi Arabia event. So we're going to review Crown Jewel on the next show. What we're going to do right now is predictions. Obviously, we haven't got a clue what is going to happen there. So me and Monty are going to play the prediction game. So we'll start off. We'll run through the card, obviously. The first match is Mansour versus Mustafa Ali. And as we spoke on last week's show, these form a tag team with each other. Who are you going to go for in this matchup and why?
It's funny because immediately when Ali attacked him, I just was like, okay, definitely. So they're finally going to give Mansour an actual story going into his match at Saudi Arabia, because he usually has a match where he shines and wins. So there's no way he's losing to Ali in Saudi Arabia. I think we all know that. But I guess I give them kudos. Now this is bad because I complain in every year that Mansour just popped up out of nowhere with no introduction and beat someone that we love like a Cesaro once before. But I guess I have to give them props for at least showing me the kid on TV every week, and then him popping up in Saudi Arabia looking like a big star. You know, I could give him props for that, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Mansour is winning, right?
Well, the thing is, I would say yes, and if this was just a way to get him on the show, it's brilliant. Like, fair play, like long-term story booking by WWE. Yeah, I would say Mansour is definitely the favourite in this one. Up next is Hell in a Cell, and this has got such a rivalry to it. Edge versus Seth Rollins. These two men have been great on SmackDown back and forth, but it comes to an end. And I've got to say, surely it ends in a babyface victory. Edge has got to go with Rollins in this, and I don't think Rollins will lose much in defeat either, because he can just laugh it off.
Yeah, I think so. And then when you're going against someone who's already a Hall of Famer, losing to them in a grudge match when you guys have basically split the matches so far, it's not really a bad thing. It's not a downside. It's nothing that's going to make Seth look bad. I think you're right. Edge has to prevail here. Also, again, since they're doing this in Saudi Arabia, I have a license to tell this joke. I'm pretty sure some of those people have no clue who Seth Rollins is, so Edge has to, because they like the old names. If you know what I mean.
I honestly thought you were going to do something about. I thought the joke was going to be something about a cell, and I thought we were going to have to move on really quickly.
You know what? I missed a perfect opportunity. But you know what? I'm not going to go there.
No, I wouldn't either. We've got the Queen's Crown Tournament Final, and Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler or Doudrop. I haven't watched that Raw yet because we are also saving it for the Halloween special. If you were going to pick Baszler or Doudrop, who would you pick, and who do you think is going to win?
It doesn't matter at all who you pick, because no matter what, they're going to kill Zelina in Saudi Arabia. So it's like,
in the match,
pick your poison. Okay, all right, pick your poison. All right. So who? I wouldn't mind Doudrop, but I think Shayna Baszler is going to win. I just don't understand the point of making her the first queen. So maybe Doudrop, just because I can see more of a kinship between the first queen. I just don't. Shayna Baszler and the first queen of the ring is very hilarious, in my opinion, to do. Not because Shayna doesn't it's just like she's the queen of spades already. So yeah, she fits the queen thing. But it's like, do you really think Shayna cares that she's the queen of the ring? Like, I feel like Doudrop would care a whole lot more. So I hope we don't have a whole gimmick change with this. If Shayna was to win. But yeah, I noticed that I didn't pick that match at all. I don't really know. I'm going with Shayna Baszler.
Up next, Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal, because we all want Woods, and we know Jinder Mahal is going to be Xavier Woods.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
And I would say Balor will be getting the victory here, because a King of the Ring victory helps him completely destroy the demon character at the last pay-per-view.
No, it doesn't, actually. It doesn't help at all. It doesn't change anything. I still remember. What's stopping God, since their explanation was just God? What's stopping God from gimmicking every top rope he's ever on? He can screw up the coup de grace in Saudi Arabia, and maybe Xavier will win. I'm hopeful. You're right. You're 100% right. There's no way that Xavier is going to beat Jinder, much less beat Finn Balor. It's just pointless to me to book Finn Balor in that position for him to beat Xavier. It's just going to make people be mad at the end. So it just makes the most sense in the world to give it to Jinder. But just why? What's the point? Why tease us like that, though? A lot of people want that for a guy. And you just do it so Jinder, of all people,
they can pull the rug away.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Classic WWE move, though. Classic WWE.
Well, up next, it's a dream match. It's a match we all wait to see. It's Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley.
No.
No, what? No, we haven't.
No, no one's been waiting.
I thought since SummerSlam we've all been really excited.
Who is this we?
I've
Are you
had,
French?
I've had
Who's we?
countless tweets say to me how much they're looking forward. The amount of email and tweets that I have had.
You need to block those accounts. But never mind. All support is good support. I'm not gonna talk about them, but I will say this: I honestly believe just lost my microphone. The microphone did not want me to reply to this match. No, the microphone did not even want me to say what I thought about this match. That's how disgusted with Goldberg my microphone is. Goldberg is going to win this match because I think that's the only reason why they would do it again. I think he's going to get his win back in Saudi Arabia. It's a non-title situation. Bobby is still, the almighty. He won't look weak unless they let Goldberg go ahead and kill Bobby. I don't think you can look any weaker than dying to Goldberg. This state of Goldberg, at least. But anyway, besides that, I'm joking about it. I'm hoping Bobby Lashley wins, but I think the only reason why they're even doing this rematch is so Goldberg can get his victory back.
Well, I hope Goldberg is there just to be destroyed by Bobby. I'm going to say Bobby Lashley for the win, and then he will go on. I'm hopeful. And then him and Big E can feud over the championship, because the next match, WWE title on the line, Big E versus Drew. And we talked about a couple of matches ago, Drew hasn't got a cat in hell's chance, has he?
No way. Again, another reason why it's stupid to draft 3 weeks ahead and then to say, these picks won't come into play after the thing. Well, there's no way the SmackDown guy is going to leave with the WWE title. Yep. And even if you want to give me the whole, all right, well, this can happen in Brock's match and then whatever. It's just it's extremely unlikely, and Vince McMahon rarely do things that's extremely unlikely in Saudi Arabia. But you know what? I guess I do remember saying the exact same phrase when Goldberg beat the Fiend. So just gonna leave it at that. I think Big E's gonna win, but I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty obvious choice. RK Bro versus Styles and Omos. I mean, Styles and Omos are just there because there's no other team. Are they a serious threat, or will Omos finally lose his temper with AJ? Maybe.
I don't think that's gonna happen, because from what I hear, they wanted to split them up, but they decided against it in the draft. So if you're going to keep them together, I doubt this will be the last straw right now with AJ and Omos. But I agree that they don't have a deep pool of contenders, or at least a deep pool of contenders that they're forcing anyone to take seriously. And yeah, I think as fun as AJ and Omos were at a time, maybe if they were fun to anyone at all, I thought they had some decent moments, and AJ is great, of course, in the ring. But RK Bro is definitely going to retain here. This match is just a match that hopefully this match will be the end of this feud that has dragged on. That's one thing about WWE. They have a couple of feuds that have dragged on.
Right, so the last two matches are the two matches probably that we're not most sure about, So these are the anything can happen matches. Yes, the SmackDown Women's title on the line: Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Which way do you see this going?
Yeah, I'm of two minds of this. Part of me could see a situation, a scenario where Bianca could prevail, especially because her and Becky will be going to Raw. But I'm so confused on how they're doing this. Are they just gonna do like what the Street Profits and New Day did in the last draft, and then just trading belts if Bianca was to win? Or then even if Becky prevails and retains, is that what's gonna happen? She's just gonna trade belts with Charlotte, and then they're gonna move on. Like, what is going on? That's one thing that confuses me when it comes to that. But since I know that a belt that has to be on Raw. And we already have the SmackDown Women's Championship. Raw Women's Championship on SmackDown basically now. And I know that's going to have to switch. it's definitely going to either be a Becky or Bianca situation. I think Becky's going to retain, maybe a little bit too early. Now, who takes the pin? I honestly believe this is a situation where you can use some of Sasha's indestructibleness, kind of, because I don't think there's anything you can do to ruin what Sasha Banks is. But I do think if Bianca keeps losing, especially to a Becky Lynch, it's going to be harder and harder to invest people in that feud longer if you let Bianca take a clean pin here. So I can see Sasha taking the pin and Becky winning.
So Lynch winning over Banks?
Yes.
And I'm going to say Banks winning over Lynch.
Okay.
It makes more sense. The championship, Banks over SmackDown with a title, and then you can have Charlotte showing up on Raw, whatever it is, and losing to Lynch.
And just losing that night or something.
24 hours later or something like this, maybe. Again,
otherwise, they could do that.
You're going to devalue it. Literally just swap the championships, aren't they? I mean, it's so WWE.
That's what I was thinking. I agree. That's what I was thinking. But, they did it with the tag champions, and I know we know that they could care less about the depiction of tag championships at this point. So I would like to think that's the reason why I was wondering, is Charlotte going to be added to this match? Is it going to be a stipulation involved? Like, is it something would happen? But I don't know. That's the thing that's the reason why this match is really harder to predict than any other match, not only with the stature of the three women, because like we all know that any of them are good choices to be champion. It's just the whole draft thing really has me confused on the depiction of it. But yeah, Sasha winning it is a good theory. But I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just do the whole trade belt situation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Again, I'm dreading it a little. It's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah. It's a big deal. I understand it, but I don't. I wouldn't be surprised. They've done it in the past where they just basically demeaned the championship and just said it doesn't really matter. The people will buy it as long as we tell them that's the champion. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, final match, and I tell you what, this is something quite funny with this because the Ultimate One hates WWE. He's told me how much he hates it.
Yo, I can tell.
But I tell you something, he's really into Brock versus Reigns. I know he's going to have a go at me, but I don't care because at least it makes him happy in WWE. And the Brock Reigns feud has really kind of turned him into it. And again, it's one of those where it has been the best story told for a long time. And even with the suggestions from Lesnar that Heyman might not be on Reigns' side, and it gives you that doubt because we have seen Paul Heyman betray people for other superstars to win WWE titles before.
I mean, his reputation for a long time is just as a liar. So, like, that's the one trait that we all know about Paul Heyman.
And it wouldn't surprise you if they did the switch. Lesnar became champion and heel again, and Reigns' face, and you just think, but we're going to end up in the same situation where you were at WrestleMania watching Lesnar champion and Reigns being booed by a crowd.
Literally the first L5 of the match, instead of reacting in just, excitement, everyone immediately booed. And I'm just like, wow, y'all didn't give them a chance at all. That's the thing. Being in the crowd when the crowd is turning on a match is some entertaining stuff. Because you just sit back and you watch how the increasingly, especially by the main event of WrestleMania, a lot of people is drunk. In New Orleans, a lot of people were drunk. So the insults were hilarious. The people were getting ready to walk out like they didn't pay a lot of money for those tickets were hilarious. But anyway, we can end up exactly right there. Just, time going on. And I don't know. It makes a lot of sense, too. Roman Reigns being undefeated by basically everyone else he's touched and then losing to Brock Lesnar. They've done that before, and it wouldn't be surprising if Brock Lesnar did it again. It's funny that you mentioned that Ultimate enjoys this story because I feel like a lot of people, whether they want to admit it or not, have been watching a lot of stuff that Roman has been involved in with this new character that he's had going on for a long time. Even if they have to stomach a lot of the bad things that WWE do, they'll stomach that just so they can pay attention to what Roman is doing tonight. That's how you know you have a top star, if you know what I mean. So that's a great, it's a great nod to what Brock Lesnar and what Roman Reigns, who they are and what they are to that company. But I think that's the beauty of this match. Either outcome can happen, and with Brock Lesnar being a free agent, he can win the belt, and Big E could lose it, and we can flip titles that way. Like it's interesting scenario. I doubt that's gonna happen because I just don't see Big E losing his belt right now, and it just don't make a lot of sense. And I just think you tell a stronger story with Roman prevailing in this way. Honestly, because I'm picking Roman to win as much as I can see Brock Lesnar and all of those other scenarios coming into play. I think that's all meant to tease us. I think he's going to end up beating Brock Lesnar. And if he don't lose, like, what do? You do a redemption story? How can we feel sorry for Roman in that scenario? Even if Paul Heyman was to turn on him, like, do you think everything is just going to flip like that fast and it'll work perfectly? I'm pretty sure they may hope it worked that way, but I just don't see things working out the way they think. They can risk literally not only ruining a character that we like, but, not getting the reaction they want again, and then we back to square one.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is WWE's problem with a lot of stuff where they could fuck it up. Like...
right,
and it could like take it away. We've been warned before with this, but there is potential there. Like, look at the card. Like, we looked at Saudi Arabia card. We've got prediction. I'm going to say Reigns as well with that. But the card for this event, because we haven't got an October pay-per-view, because Crown Jewel's taken it, for better or for worse, it should be better than any other Saudi Arabia event we've ever had, shouldn't it?
I agree. This should be the strongest Saudi card that they've probably put together. Even over the first one with all the names and the big old Royal Rumble. And I'm not saying that was even renowned as a great one at the time. I just know there was a lot of hoopla around the first one. So, yeah, based on the card, this has no business not being the strongest one. It's just so funny to me to see it in Saudi Arabia, a card of this strength, Hell in a Cell matches, Brock Lesnar, all of these big time, thing, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. I mean, Goldberg and Bobby Lashley, that encounter. So like just having all these big names, having the type of matches they put together, the women's division match. We couldn't even have a women's match there years ago, and now the biggest championship in the division, pretty much in all of women's wrestling in WWE, is on the line in Saudi Arabia. So we've come a long way. This is going to be a big deal. And I haven't watched Crown Jewel, as a matter of fact, in at least 2 or 3 years. I don't think I've watched. So, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to think. The last time I watched, I don't think I didn't watch when The Fiend lost to Goldberg. You couldn't avoid that result. Yeah. So, but I definitely will have to keep my eyes out on this one because it's too stacked of a card.
Without a doubt. Like I say, we will review that next week when the Halloween special calls Jaxie and Ultimate One are going to force them to watch a Crown Jewel as well so we can review it. But we should have some fun, hopefully. So hopefully we can talk about the G1 climax as well. It's been obviously really fun recently. Of course, one of my mates, Zack Sabre Jr., of course, he's my friend because we're both English.
Oh, man.
Giving it all that in Japan, as they say, you yogurt. No, but like I said, it's been great. And the last couple of weeks now, we've been able to catch up.
DSJ is top 5 in the world right now.
Oh, without a doubt. We're going to talk about that. But like I said, we've talked about Raw, SmackDown in the UK, and it's been good to have you on for the past couple of weeks. And like I said, you're on again next week for the Halloween show. But I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode as well.
Yes, I definitely enjoyed. It may seem like I'm getting worked to death, but this is all fun. All fun for me. Love working on the material, just watching and trying to look at wrestling from another point of view than other just being a fan. I love giving the fan perspective, but also just from a critical perspective also, it's cool to do this and to break down all of the news, all of the stuff that you see on a weekly basis now. And, we get to talk about stuff that we love. So I like this, and this is fun again, and I appreciate you.
No, without shadow of a doubt. Well, that is it for today. Don't forget we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Monty, you just plugged your stuff.
Yes, at Mind Monty Pod, and anywhere you listen to podcasts, type in Mind Monty, and I should pop up. Give me a listen.
Yeah, WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms.com, YouTube, the WNR Podcast with all latest clips and podcasts at the same time on YouTube to do SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate there. So that is it. Like I say, next episode, the entire WNR team for the Halloween special. But until then, I have been James Ryan. I was joined by the fantastic Monty, and it's been an enjoyable experience. All this wrestling for you, and I cannot wait for the Halloween show.
Let's do it. Can't wait for it.
Well, like I say, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.
Adios.